This week in Grace's Girls Club, we're taking a dive back into a little bit of the aerospace field and kind of going back into this world. We've been discussing medical companies as well as medical positions for quite some time, but heading back a little bit towards the technology and engineering side. So I want to welcome Leifje to Grace's Girls Club. Thank you so much for being here. Please introduce yourself, tell us your company and your title as well.
Sure. Oh, thanks. And thanks for having me. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. So I'm excited to be here. My name is Leifje Dighton, and I am the site plant manager for PPG Aerospace here in Huntsville, Alabama.
That is awesome. So walk me
Yeah.
through a little bit about what your company does and your mission.
So our company makes transparencies, which is a little fancy title for windshields and windows for aircraft. So we make it for tons of aircrafts all over the world. It's pretty cool and pretty exciting. I think most people think that PPG does mostly coatings and paint, but we have lots of other technology out there. So it's kind of exciting to be here in Huntsville.
That is exciting. And you know what?
Mhm.
I'm one of those. When you
Yeah.
messaged about PPT, I thought, oh, this is going to be coding and tech. So I
Hmm.
fit in with that group. So walk me
Yep.
through your day to day as plant and site manager. What exactly is on your plate every day?
So it is day to day is really difficult to answer because it depends on the day. Like I think probably most jobs, you can think what you're going to do when you come in to do work, but you don't never. It's not necessarily always the same thing. But almost every day I walk the floor. I'd probably love to do it a lot more often than I get to, and talk to the employees. We have about 750 hourly employees here and about 250 salary. So quite a few people. But I like to go and meet them. And it's amazing what you can learn from them, both personally and professionally. Yeah. I've learned a lot on how to build aircraft transparency. So I definitely do that every day. The rest of the time, I spend a lot meeting with my staff to figure out where I can help them solve problems that's difficult or that they need additional help to solve. And I do have to do some more administrative stuff as far as respond to emails and calendars, meetings, and stuff like that. My week to week is probably more consistent. We definitely go over misses, wins that we had for the production team. Did we make what we were supposed to make the previous week? And obviously, we always start with safety and our financial performance too to make sure that we did what we were supposed to our operating budget. And
Abs-
occasionally, we'll have monthly reviews too, and visitors, which make it really interesting. We get a lot of visitors here, which is pretty cool. So,
really? I would not have guessed
mhm,
that.
yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
Who
So,
who all is visiting?
well, we have like a lot of our customers visit.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have, there's a lot of with the FAA and auditors and things like that too that come visit too. So it's kind of cool.
That
It's a
is
little bit
very
different.
cool.
Mhm.
So, do you all work with the engineering and the manufacturing of the windshields, producing them, and then also the safety testing of them? Is it, and then
Mhm.
installation, is it the full scale or is it kind of just a few
Yeah, we do
components
it all
within that?
here. So we do have engineering here. I would say we have from the production to the sales. So we have engineering here as well. We have procurement. We have some procurement individuals on site too. So they help us buy the components that go into the windows. We have the testing here. We actually do something called a bird shot test, which mimics, being in flight. So if a bird were to actually impact the window, so we do that testing here. We do obviously the production of it and distribution of it, and then we have team called platform managers here that are a lot of our liaison between the customers and kind of manage the customer accounts. So
Wow,
I
that
like
is
that very
very
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
And as
yeah.
the manager of that, you're overseeing every single piece of it.
That I oversee mostly the production.
Okay,
Some of the other ones are dotted line to me, but report to other individuals across the U.S. So, but
very cool.
we all work together as a team to try to make sure that we do what we need to do for our customers.
How cool. So, of the letters in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, which of those or which sequence would you say most applies to you?
So I would say when I first started as an engineer, I would say it was more obviously engineering and technology. Um, I would say now, as I've developed more into managerial roles with increased responsibility, the finance or math portion. becomes much more important as you progress. So I would say that's what how I'd kind of answer for all three of those.
So let's say I'm a young girl at home and I'm watching this thinking, all right, this is pretty cool. I think this is what I want to do one day. Walk me through educationally how you got to where you are today, and then what educational tips you might have for the next generation.
So I always loved how things went together or how things were processed or how I'm just curious about that. So I knew when I was ninth grade I wanted to be an engineer. There was no internet back then, so there was no, I wasn't quite sure what kind of engineer I wanted to be. So I actually got a scholarship in textile engineering and did that for, we were in quarters back then at Auburn, quarters, and just hated it. I had to write a paper on unwoven fabrics, and I just couldn't do it. Couldn't see myself doing that. But I flipped through the book because there was no internet, and was looking and research all the different kinds of engineers there were. And industrial engineer and systems engineering dealt more with people and processes, and that just rang my bell super great. So I was so excited about that. So I graduated with a Bachelor of Industrial and Systems Engineer from Auburn. So I did that for 4.5 years. I did not co-op. I do regret that. One piece of advice I give people, and one of my biggest regrets, is that I did not. As an engineer, I would highly, highly recommend it. Um, I did go to University of South Florida for a while to pursue my MBA when I lived down there for a little bit, but I didn't finish it. I couldn't do it. I was pregnant and we were moving, and I had just newly married, and it was just too much and it was overwhelming. So it is on my bucket list to go back and finish one day. So, but I never finished that. But I would just encourage, if you love, if you're curious about solving problems and how things work, thank God for Google, because I still Google things all the time. I wonder why that does that. I would definitely encourage you to go into engineering. There's all different kinds. There's tons of different fields, and it's applicable to all different kind of roles once you graduate. I'm in manufacturing, and obviously I think people think of like distribution, like Amazon, transportation. But hospitals use industrial engineers, banks do. I think one of the first projects I ever remember doing when I was in college was looking at queuing theory, or the inefficiencies in the lines for fast food restaurants. So I mean, it's just amazing what industrial engineers do. And I think that people probably don't realize there are other things outside of just manufacturing, which I
Right.
love.
Some of the breadth of the spectrum. So walk me
Yeah.
through why you chose your current field. We talked a little bit about engineering and why you kind of made that change in types of engineering in the facet, but what brought you here to where you are today?
I love solving problems and being efficient and improving processes. So I'm a list maker. I even make a list on the weekend sometimes. It's just what drives me, motivates me. I have a personal list that I make every year, bucket list that I make sure I try to knock off something every year. So that's the things that kind of drive me personally, and that translates over into professionally too as well. Again, I love the variety that you can do. I worked for GE Appliances for 25 years, and so I did that for a long time. But I decided last year, I'm like, I want to go do something different. I'm sure my skill sets will transfer over to another manufacturing field, and it did, and I'm excited. But again, I just think when you start to think about like what you do, what drives you and motivates you, even in your personal life, uh, like is it fun for you to have efficient packing? Is it fun for you to cooking? Is it fun for you to go try to figure out, how the gas grill works? Or, those things are, from a curiosity standpoint, make you think about like processes and products and how they're functioning. And those are the things that drive me and that interest me, that I like. So if you're good in math and in science, a lot of times you're in curious, you're probably really well suited for engineering.
So I couldn't agree more. I completely
Yeah.
agree. What is the best part of your job? We spoke earlier about how there's a lot on your plate and a lot of it is very different. But if you had to pinpoint one thing that's the best, what would your favorite part be?
The same thing that made me pick industrial engineering oh my God, a bazillion years ago.
The
It's
problem
the same thing.
solving.
Yeah, it's the same thing I like now. I mean, I love solving problems, and especially for people. I love to get to meet people and interact with them, uh, see what their concerns are, what their worries are, where I can help fix it and solve it. Um, I love doing that portion. And I also really love, I think one of the things I love most about being a site leader or a plant leader is too, I get to think about what we want to be next. So, what's our strategy? What do we think that we have the potential to be? Where do we want to focus? Where are our core competencies? What are we really great at? That's really fun for me too, to envision what's next. So both of those are really fun for me on a day to day.
Absolutely. Those sound
Mhm.
fun. So, if
Mhm.
that's maybe the best part of your job, what might be the most challenging? And you can't say the problems that you have to
No,
solve.
no, no. Oh, I know, I got you. So, like, one is communication. I mean, that's just difficult. I think no matter when you have the volume of people that we have to make sure that you touch everyone and make sure they're informed. I mean, no matter who we work for or what role we're in, we want to know that we're involved and that that we know what's going on. Um, no matter what business you work for. So that's one of it, and how to get all your information to all the different audiences. Um, you never know too what people are going through in their personal lives and what's affecting them. So to try to make sure that you can get information out there so that part is known, so they don't have to worry about just their business and their job. And then just from a tactical standpoint, training, it's just roles and jobs have obviously changed over the years, and they will continue to change too. So not as many people, I would say, see manufacturing as cool. Which I've always loved it. It's been great for me. I've always loved being able to do the variety of jobs that I've done and got to learn a ton. But that's one thing is I think that, people are not as engaged or attracted to manufacturing as they used to be, which is a shame.
Right,
So
right.
we got a marketing problem, I would say. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
completely agree with what you said about the communication aspect. I was talking to a CEO of a Hudson Alpha affiliate a couple weeks ago, and I asked her, "What's your advice for them?" And she said, "No matter how techie you are, how many degrees you have to place the importance, at least for a little while, on the communication aspect because we work in teams and we communicate with other teams." And that's exactly what you said, and I completely agree. So kind of piggybacking off of that, if you had a message to young girls or in general young students who wanted to be involved in the STEM workforce, what would your message to them be?
I have two, I would say. The first one is just don't be afraid. I think a lot of girls feel like if they aren't smart enough or don't understand math to the A++ level, that they may not can do it. But that does just don't be afraid to try. Um, you know, um, I don't care how old you are. Again, like I said, I started a new career at 54 years old. So, and I'm enjoying it and I'm loving it. And it was scary, but I would just tell girls, don't be afraid to try. Just even if you don't know anyone that does it, or even if you're afraid that your math or science skills may not be super great, if it's something that interests you, it will come to you and you will learn it and you'll be good at it because you like it and it interests you. So that's one thing. Just don't let your fear get in the way of you trying. And then the second one is make sure you have fun along the way too, and make sure you develop relationships. So no matter what job you go into, or no matter where you choose to go to school, those relationships and the time you spend investing in people will be invaluable along the way. So I still have friends that through college and that I've met earlier in my career. So you have to take time too to make sure you build those relationships.
Absolutely. Leifje,
Mhm.
words from the wise. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And thank you for being a part of Grace's Girls Club. I'm so excited for them to hear what you had to say.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity, like I said.